Hi everyone, and welcome to week two's reading session with me, Miss Pickersgill. We are going to be looking today at the book Guardians of the Planet, and actually it's not going to be just for today, it's going to be across Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. So this whole book should fill all of your week with its different chapters. Now, I know last week's books were themed all on hope, but this week, tying in with hope, I thought we could look at how we can protect our environment and learn something new from a brilliant book that I bought the other month called Guardians of the Planet. So on this PowerPoint, you'll be seeing the pages that we're going to read today. It's a bit of a short chapter today. And again, you might be able to discuss it at home or in the classroom if you are in school about some of the ideas that you have to protect our planet. Okay. Right, before I start, what I'd like you to think about, if you are in class or you are at home, what the word guardian means. And think about it, if you're a guardian of the planet, what might your job be? Okay, so a guardian of the planet, and you might have already said this in class or at home, a guardian is someone who looks after something or someone else, okay? So if you are a guardian of a child, then your job is to look after that child. So for us to be guardians of the planet, what that means is looking after the planet. Our job is to make sure that we look after Earth, okay? And this book is filled with lots of ideas of how we can be good guardians of our planet. And we're going to look at the first chapter together. So, chapter number 1 is Guardians of the Planet. And you can see lots and lots of different ways there that they are saying that we can protect our planet. So let's have a look. The Earth has existed for over 4,500,000 years. Despite being bombarded by asteroids, trampled underfoot by dinosaurs, and suffering planet-wide ice ages, it has endured and flourished. But now Earth is in trouble, and guardians of the planet are needed urgently. This book is packed with tips and projects to help make our planet greener, safer, and more sustainable. One person alone cannot save the planet, but there are hundreds of things we can do at home, at school, and in your local community that make a huge difference. By the time you turn the final page, you will have all the skills and knowledge you need to be a fully fledged guardian of the planet. Spread the word and encourage family, friends, neighbours, and classmates to do their bit too. If we work together, we can make a vital contribution and help to look after the incredible world that we call home. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the brief suggestions that we've got today. So we'll look at that top one, home hero. Humans have created a wasteful world. The United States alone produces over 200 million tons of waste each year, the weight of 604 Empire State Buildings worth. Okay, and they dump them, and again, that it doesn't just disappear, that then goes into landfills, which then creates more pollution, and it doesn't stop. Let's go on the next one down. Guardian of green energy. Climate change is warming up the Earth and ice caps are shrinking. NASA estimates that 219 billion tons of ice is lost each year. And think about its effect with that. Now, we might not think it'll affect us massively, but it does have knock-on effects because those animals that live in those climates then have no home if they live on the ice or they use the ice to get food. They'll have nowhere to go, and unfortunately they will die, and there'll be less of them. Food waste fighter. Rising demand for food is threatening crucial cycles in nature. Millions of square kilometres of wild habitat have been lost already. Okay, so that's again trees being cut down, areas of the world that are now having houses built on them. There's no habitats, which means no homes for those animals. Freshwater friend. More than 1 in 9 people don't have access to clean water. Contaminated drinking water causes over 500,000 deaths a year. So that, believe it or not, in some countries, they do not have the fresh water that we have that runs through our taps. So we get a bath and when we have a drink, some countries don't have that fresh water, and that water is really dirty and dangerous, full of factory chemicals. When people flush the toilet, all of their muck goes into the water, and then unfortunately they drink it as well. So it is really, really dangerous. Keeper of the coasts and oceans. Our oceans are under threat from pollution. Plastic rubbish alone kills over 1 million seabirds and 100,000 sea mammals every year. And you see some absolutely awful sights of birds like seagulls that have got plastic bags wrapped around them. And I remember seeing this awful picture where there was a turtle that had got caught in a straw, and the plastic straw, because the plastic straw stays plastic and it doesn't change its form at all, it got stuck in its nose and unfortunately died because of that. Now that was all because of us using materials that can't change at all, and they won't change over hundreds of thousands of years. And unfortunately, when we get rid of them, some of them may end up in the sea, and that's when these animals either think it's food and don't realize how dangerous it is, and it causes them to die, unfortunately. So again, that's something that we really, really need to change. Friend of the Forests. Since 1990, over 1,300,000 square kilometres of forest have been burnt or chopped down, an area bigger than South Africa. Now, I have spoken about that before. Now, we call that deforestation. So what that means is that to allow us to do things like have certain foods, to build houses, forests now are being cut down. And that means then that those animals that live on these trees, like koalas, they don't have anywhere to live. And unfortunately, they then die because there's nothing to protect them, because the predators that would hunt them do then find them because they've got nowhere to hide. So again, that is a massive, massive issue that we need to make sure we protect our forests. So this book, everything that I've spoken about in here, this book is going to look at in detail. And I want you to think about which is the area of the Guardians of the Planet that really interests you. Which one are you looking forward to looking at the most? Okay, so after you've had that discussion, our final page here is about connected together. This is before we go into any of the chapters that will come on later in the week. So let's have a look what the book has to say. So connected together. Everything on Earth is connected. This means that what you do at home and in your neighbourhood, both good and bad, can have massive impact on the planet. Before you get going on saving the world, it's important to understand how life on Earth is connected in many different ways, and how human actions have affected these delicate systems. Long distance damage. Life across Earth relies on natural cycles and systems. Water, for example, evaporates into the air and is carried by air currents to other places, where it falls as rain or snow. If the water mixes with harmful substances, it can fall as acid rain, damaging environments far away from where the original pollution occurred. Rivers also flow into the planet's network of oceans. This can mean that objects discarded in one place, so either they're thrown away, end up a long way away. In 2017, scientists even found chunks of polystyrene, that's the really soft stuff that you find in your packages when they arrive in the post, in the remote waters of the Arctic Ocean. So they may have been thrown away in England, and then they've gone into the ocean, and then they're found all the way across the other side of the world. Ecosystem is the term used to describe a community of different living things and their home environment. Okay, and you can sort of see there where you've got the reef, you've got the coral, you've got the different fish. There you've got other living things that are in the ocean, your turtles, your other fish. And then can you see that plastic bag that's floating about there that doesn't belong in there? It's not part of the natural cycle. And unfortunately, that is starting to affect these animals and kill them. So, trading places. In the past, people relied on goods made and formed near to where they lived. Today, billions of items are transported around the world. As the human population has more than tripled in the last 70 years, so the demand for food, materials and products has boomed. That means it's got bigger. Demand in one area can have a huge environmental impact everywhere else. For example, when people in Europe use large amounts of paper, the need for new paper means that trees in other parts of the world are used and cut down, such as the Amazon rainforest. So again, when we're talking about the houses and the habitats of our animals, the more paper that we use in school or at home, that means that we want more. And then that means that we get the paper from the trees get cut down to make that paper. And then those poor animals don't have anywhere to live. Food webs. Living things are connected by their relationships with their ecosystem. Food chains show how energy passes between things in an ecosystem, beginning with a producer. That means a living thing that makes its own food, such as a plant. Other living things, known as consumers, eat producers and may then be eaten themselves, forming a chain. Most creatures eat more than one type of plant or animal, so chains overlap to create a food web. A change in the population of one of those things can have a major impact in the web. Pesticides, for instance, not only kill vast amounts of insects, but also reduce the chances of survival of insect-eating birds, frogs, and other large creatures. So, for example, you may have plants that farmers want to keep to then sell. However, what eats the consumers, what eats the producer, which is the plant, so like a ladybird, for example, they then go into the plant, they then want to eat it to then survive, okay? However, because this farmer wants all of those plants and it doesn't want those insects that are going to eat them all, he sprays them with what we call a pesticide, which is a bit like a poison for little bugs. So it tells them that they either die if they eat it or they don't want to go near it. That's very good for the farmer, they can sell the food. But if that insect eats that poison, then a bird comes down, because that's the next animal in the chain. The bird will eat the ladybird. That ladybird has got poison in it. And unfortunately, if that bird ate it, that bird is now poisoned. So that's how our actions can affect the chain and the web. But farmers do still need their food. So it's about having a really good balance between protecting the food, but then also protecting the animals as well. And some of you, like me, I wouldn't have known that before. So I would have not realised the effect that it had on other animals until now, which is the whole point in this book. Okay, so that's it for today's reading. Just a bit of an idea about what the book's about different ideas that we can do to save the planet. And these 4 pages were really about making us aware, giving us an idea of what is wrong with the world, what's happening that shouldn't be happening. And also we're learning how that can affect other things that are part of the ecosystem, that are part of a natural cycle and a system with everything living alongside each other and working nicely, and how our effects could potentially make it better, but unfortunately also make it worse. Okay, try and have a chat with someone in your classroom if you're in school. Try and have a chat with someone about this at home, if you are learning from home at the moment. And hopefully you'll enjoy the next couple of chapters. And our next chapter is about our home hero. So basically what we can do at home to help our ecosystem. Okay, it's lovely seeing you all again, even though you weren't here in person. It's week 2. Hopefully the more weeks that go on, the sooner we'll be able to see everyone back in school. Take care, everyone. I hope you are safe and healthy. And I will see you all very, very soon.